What's going on, beautiful world? Hope all is well on your side. I've had an inspiration to make a video explaining my spiritual awakening and describing what it feels like and how I've experienced life since I've had it. Before I get into that, though, I want to explain how I was living my life before the spiritual awakening. And the tool that I'm going to use to express my life story very briefly is the seven chakras. And that's the same system I'm going to use to explain my spiritual awakening uh, or life after my spiritual awakening in the following videos. So this first video is titled my chakra story part one, and part one will describe my life before spiritual awakening. So before I became enlightened, I used to live my life based on a system I would describe as bottom up living. So living the enlightened life is top down living. So bottom up living is basically when I was younger, I was told that I was stupid, slow, retarded. I mean, those words sound harsh. I'm not making them up. That's what my people in my family used to call me, right? And because I grew up as a person personal personality type INFJ, I was very different from most kids. I was very introverted, quiet, always in my head. If you read my personality type, that's what we do, and we're very rare. Less than 1% of the world population are INFJs. So we experience life differently, and because of that, my own family, grown ups, used to tease me a lot. So that made me feel like I didn't have the same intelligence as other kids, or I didn't have the same skills. Like something was wrong with me, right? So throughout my life, for a long time, I lived as if I was lacking, and that's the first chakra, right? It's all about security and having, and I was very insecure, and I didn't have. I was living from a position of lack, and because of that, the second chakra, which is about pleasure, the only thing that made me happy was chasing things that would fill the lack that I felt. You know, and because that's all I was focused on. The third chakra, the solar plexus, is where your power or your ego lives. I form a strong ego where I had to go get whatever would make me feel whole at that time, whether it was women, whether it was success in something, to show that I was worthy of being on this planet. Because when you have low self-esteem, you want and you seek other people's approval. That was something I was loyal to a fault, because I felt like I had to overgive. When there's lacking inside, you give. There's excess, and you're doing and you're giving. So my ego lived from a position of extremes, lacking and excess. Because I was always chasing fulfillment, I could not love unconditionally. That's the fourth chakra, the heart. My love was always conditional. It was always about, what can you give me to fill my lacking? It was a dependency love. Because my love was dependent, I could never really fully speak my truth. That's the fifth chakra, the throat chakra. I couldn't speak my truth because I was always afraid if I tell you the truth, you would leave. You would take away what I needed for my insecurities, what I needed for my lacking. And because I couldn't speak the truth, I had to always think. That's the sixth chakra. I had to always think about what should I do to get someone's approval. I was always thinking about the resentment that I felt for the past, for all the lackings, the love that I didn't get, the support that I didn't get, all the pains was in my head, were in my head. And then to make up for those losses that I felt that I had in the past, I was always thinking about the future. Always thinking about what can I get in the future. I was looking for fulfillment for sometime in the future. I was, in essence, waiting to live. I wasn't happy, but I was just waiting to live. So, because my mind was always cluttered with thinking about the past, the future, about people's opinions, my mind, which is the sixth chakra, which is sight, couldn't see clearly. And because I couldn't see clearly, the seventh chakra, which is consciousness, pure consciousness, could not enter my mind. My mind was like a window blocking the sunlight. The sun was shining, but the thoughts couldn't enter. Consciousness can only enter to you through clear head, through that gap between your thinking. That's the only window it has to come in. So if you're always thinking like I was always thinking, I couldn't receive conscious intelligence. So that's how I was living what I call bottom up, from the first chakra up. So there was a blockage. I took this route to explain it to you, so you could see what led to the blockages, and you could look into your life and identify which area is blocking you the most. Even the famous psychologist Abraham Maslow had what he called the hierarchy of needs. It starts with the most basic needs: food, security, and then love, esteem. Basic things that if you don't have it, you cannot climb to your higher selves. I'll catch you in part 2, where I discuss how I'm living now, top down, spiritually awakened, and every day of my life and my every action. And I'm going to tell you how the chakras explain how life flows for me now. Before I let you go, since my channel is all about metaphysics and finance, I'm going to leave you with a finance tip. Practice paying yourself first. The philosophy behind that is, once you get paid your paycheck, if it goes to everyone else, your bills, your rent, your friends, people you owe, credit cards, you will never have anything left to pay yourself. And if you can't pay yourself, you can't save. If you can't save, you can't do anything, right? So, pay yourself first. You could do that by having a savings account where a portion of your money, direct deposit, goes into the account, separate it, forget that you have it. By any method you choose, hit me up if you want some more ideas on how to do it. But pay yourself first before you pay anyone else. Catch you in the next video.